Welcome to Edvora. If you're fascinated by mind-bending scenarios, subscribe now and tap the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive. Now let's imagine a world turned upside down, literally, by an invasion of giant ants. Picture waking up one morning to see ants the size of buses marching across your neighborhood. These once tiny insects, armed with near limitless strength and swarm tactics, are suddenly towering over us. Is humanity doomed? Could we fight back? And how would colossal ants transform the balance of life on Earth? Section 1. Ant biology. Why they're already formidable. Ants might look insignificant at their normal size, but they're among the most successful creatures on the planet. They live in vast colonies with strict hierarchies, workers, soldiers, and the all-important queen. They communicate through chemical signals, cooperate seamlessly, and can lift objects many times their body weight. Now, scale them up to 2 meters tall or more, and that innate power magnifies into something out of a sci-fi nightmare. In reality, insects can't just balloon in size without major respiratory and structural changes. But let's suspend disbelief and assume these giant ants suddenly adapt. The same swarm intelligence that allows small ants to build complex nests and coordinate attacks would become a massive threat, like an entire army that never needs rest, fear, or negotiation. Section 2. The scaling problem. How giant ants could overcome nature's limits. Of course, there's a reason ants aren't usually huge: biological scaling laws. Insects rely on tiny openings called spiracles for oxygen intake, and an exoskeleton becomes extremely heavy as body size increases. Historically, giant insects roamed Earth only when oxygen levels were much higher. But let's imagine these ants have evolved a specialized respiratory system, or that Earth's atmosphere has changed, maybe a freak mutation, maybe an environmental shift. Now their exoskeletons are sturdy enough to support giant frames, and they have the oxygen supply to keep those colossal muscles working. Section 3. Ecosystem impact, a new dominant force. If ants surpass humans in size and keep their enormous colonies, we'd face a radical ecological upheaval. Farms, forests, and grasslands would become prime targets for their never-ending hunger. They'd strip vegetation, devour livestock, and possibly outcompete or wipe out many existing predators. Picture entire fields consumed within hours by legions of ants the size of trucks. The natural world would reshape quickly, some species extinct, others adapting to remain hidden or find new habitats free from ant onslaught. Section 4. Humans versus giant ants. Could we survive? The scariest element of giant ants isn't just their size, it's their teamwork. Even if one ant fell to human weapons, thousands more would charge relentlessly. Conventional firearms might slow them down, but consider how bullet-resistant a thickened exoskeleton might become. Governments might deploy chemical warfare, super-strong pesticides, or advanced robotic weapons. Yet an unstoppable swarm could eventually overrun cities, especially if it's worldwide. But humans are clever too. We might rally globally. No more national conflicts if we have a bigger threat, right? We could build fortified bunkers or develop targeted biological agents that exploit ant biology. Possibly, we'd adapt to living in extreme climates or subterranean locations, hoping giant ants can't handle those conditions. Survival could look like pockets of humanity holding out with high-tech defenses, while large expanses of farmland and unprotected towns become ant territory. Section 5. Could giant ants evolve higher intelligence? A chilling thought is whether these new mega-insects develop bigger brains. Real ants rely on collective intelligence rather than large individual brains, but if scaled up, could they achieve advanced cognition? Some might imagine giant ant colonies forging rudimentary technology, gnawing away at metal infrastructure, or constructing massive supernests that rival our skyscrapers. The line between pure animal behavior and strategic planning gets blurry if their neuronal capacity grows. Section 6. The aftermath. A new Earth or our extinction. In some doomsday scenarios, giant ants might dominate quickly, leaving humanity either enslaved for resources or forced into near extinction. Alternatively, A combination of human ingenuity and the ants' own biological limits might prevent them from fully taking over. Perhaps many ants die from the inability to sustain such massive bodies or due to unforeseen diseases. Some equilibrium might form where we coexist, though likely with drastically altered civilizations and landscapes. So what if ants were suddenly bigger than humans? We'd face a terrifying reality where ordinary insects become unstoppable giants, rending entire ecosystems and challenging our place as Earth's apex species. This scenario reminds us that our current dominance is often a fragile illusion. Change a few variables, like insect size or adaptation, and we might discover just how vulnerable we are. Question for you: if you had to survive in a world run by giant ants, what would your strategy be? Fight, flee, or attempt to ally with them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this what-if scenario got your imagination buzzing, like, subscribe, and join us for more explorations of the unexpected right here on Edvora. After all, nature has some pretty wild surprises, and sometimes the smallest creatures can become the biggest threat.